Hello everyone, welcome again to our class, and this time we're going to discuss about the Humanistic Psychoanalysis by Erich Fromm. According to Erich Fromm, humans are freaks of nature. There is this loss of connection to nature and one another which results to basic anxiety. So in the theory of Fromm, makikita natin na may pagka-related siya sa theory ni Horney tsaka ni Adler, no? Wherein na-discuss din yung basic anxiety at saka yung goals. So these are the basic assumptions of humanistic psychoanalysis. Humanity's separation or loss of connection from the natural world has produced the feelings of isolation or basic anxiety. According also to Fromm, um, ourselves, no, humans can only be understood on human history, culture, no, and our connectedness to nature by its very essence. Kasi yung unang panahon pa daw talaga, no, meron talaga tayong gift of rationality which na-discover ng mankind. So itong rationality na to, it has its ways, no, to allow us to connect and to make sense in this world. It can only be understood in human history, culture, and human dilemma and have acquired the ability to reason. Ito yung term ko kanina na rationality, and they can think of their isolated condition. So whether you could reason out your situation in a way that could help you or could destroy you as well. So there is a less concern on individual but more concern on the characteristics common on culture. Okay? So, madidiscussin natin yung human dilemma. This is the acquired, the ability to reason, and they can think of their isolated condition. So, tayo daw, may freedom din pala tayo, no? To think of our condition, or to make ways on how we can transcend from this unwanted conditions. According also to Fromm, may human needs tayo, which have evolved from the human existence as a separate species. So we, as human beings, having that gift of rationality, we have this human needs na kailangan mapunan. So this aimed at moving them towards the reunification with the natural world. Always na-emphasize dito yung loss of connection to the nature or to the natural world, which had caused basic anxiety, no, and which has caused or produced feelings of isolation. It lacks of the satisfaction of any of these human needs is unbearable and may result to insanity. So sobrang importante daw talaga na itong mga needs na to ay talagang mapupunan. First need is we have relatedness. This is the drive for union with another person or need to belong or part of the group. It's part of our human needs to belong, no, and to be part of a certain group. No? Since long ago, yung before, di ba, yung mga caveman or yung mga sinaunang tao, talagang meron silang grupo for them to survive. So it had rooted there that we as human beings, we are also in need to be part of a group, no, to belong to a certain community or a society, and hence being related to one another is important. Next is transcendence. This is from the concept of being thrown into the world without their consent. So we have that need to transcend, no, to go beyond our comfort zone. Okay, so in ways of being or finding oneself, okay, that is transcendence. This has also the urge to rise above a passive accidental existence. No, it's not just we exist, but we also have our own uniqueness and our identity as well. Rootedness naman is there is this need to go beyond what is right now, no, what is happening right now. This is there also needs to establish roots or to feel at home again in the world. So basically it's to go back to your roots, to go back to your home, no, if we are lost ganyan, and we need to establish this. Also connected din yung mga needs natin sa isa't isa. Next is the sense of identity. This is an awareness of the self as a separate person. Also by gaining this own identity about ourselves, that we are not the same as other people, and hence we are also a separate person. So na-emphasize din siya as a human need according to Fromm. And frame of orientation, this also enables people to organize the various stimuli that impinge them or serve as roadmaps or guiding principle that we use every day. It's like our direction, no? Where should we be going? We should establish also this kind of frame of orientation, this roadmap or principle that we have to live by everyday life. All right. So much for this human needs. Let's proceed to the next part. So to reduce the frightening sense of isolation and aloneness, people may adopt one of the three. So meron tayong mechanisms of escape. So it's like defense mechanism ni Freud, no? It's like to how to escape from freedom. In order for the person not to feel alone and isolated, they adopt this mechanisms of escape. First, as we have authoritarianism, this is a tendency to fuse with another. So it's like you are being with a person, no, in a way of uh, being sadistic or masochism or being masochistic, no? So in that way, you have or you're gaining authority towards another person. Destructiveness is by uh, exhibiting, no, destructive behaviors where people can restore feelings of power when they feel that they're weak and they are powerless. Now this need, no, to flee or to escape, no, by destroying, no, is sometimes prevalent as well in order for them to feel powered or empowered. Next is automaton conformity. So this is like acting like a robot, no, which may sometimes we give up our individuality and more of blind acceptance of what is our reality now. So may sometimes happen to us in order for us not to feel isolated or anxious. No, we just conform to what is with us now rather than to be authoritative or to destroy it. No. Next is we have the concept of positive freedom. So for from she defined it as or he defined it as a spontaneous activity of the whole. No, it is a spontaneous and full expression of both the rational and emotional potentialities. So positive freedom is more likely being spontaneous and expressing, no, both the rational and emotional potentiality of the person. Okay, like for example, like when we are still a child, no, so we are not so bothered about ourselves. We just express what we are or who we are. And also he also has this concept of fundamental dichotomies, which is life and death. Okay. And going forward to character orientations, no, there is this permanent way of relating to other people, which he also discussed. There is non-productive orientations and productive orientations. And for non-productive orientations, this is when a person has an unhealthy way of showing himself or dealing with things, no, or relating with other people. We have here receptive. This is more of receiving passively, no, what is given to them, just receiving them without evaluating it thoroughly. So receive ko lang ng receive. Hoarding is just holding it in yourself and don't let it go or hindi mo siya nilalet go yung mga bagay-bagay. It's like it's more likely of holding everything inside and don't let go. Exploitative naman is exploiting or taking things by force. So also very destructive din siya in a way by forcing it, no, to be yours. Next is marketing naman. This is an orientation wherein dependent on the other person or dependent on the ability to sell themselves, no? It's more likely you are dapat laging um, laging ganito, no? Laging merong kapalit, no? So it's not healthy as well. Next, we have the productive orientations. So these are um, a more healthier way of orienting or being or relating to others. So we have here three types: working, loving, and reasoning. So for working, no, this is by working in means of creativity, to be creative, no, to express oneself, to have that individuality, sense of identity, as well as emphasize here. For loving naman, there should be care, respect, responsibility, and knowledge. Also sa theory ni Fromm, sa kanya din nanggaling yung love na concept, no, or meron din siyang concept about love, no, wherein there is a fusion of two persons but they remain themselves, or hindi nawawala yung identity nila. So kapag yung dalawang magjowa, no, they become together, or they united as one, there is unity but no, hindi nawawala yung individuality or sense of self nila. Okay. Next is we have reasoning. For this, for reasoning, there should be most likely dapat one should be able to reason out, or nakakapagbigay pa rin siya ng right rationality or right evaluative um, power or sense sa mga bagay-bagay. Hindi lang siya basta-basta nagko-conform for the sake of not having or not experiencing isolation, ganyan. So, meron pa rin siyang sense of self niya. Unhealthy individuals have non-productive ways of working, reasoning, and especially loving. So, dapat yung unity, no, of being themselves, no, and also hindi nawawala yung sense of self nila. At saka kapag tayo ay nagmamahal, hindi natin pinipilit yung isang person, no. So considered na unhealthy yung being masochistic or being sadistic sa relationship for Fromm. Biophilia naman is yung concept ni Fromm of being passionate love of life. So pagmamahal sa pag-ibig. I mean pagmamahal sa life, no? Yun yung concept na biophilia. Also yung concept ni Fromm ng love, very popular din to. Meron siyang libro nito actually, The Art of Loving by Erich Fromm. Pwede niyo itong ma-search online. May libro siya eh. So, if you could read it, no, sana mabasa niyo. So, according also to Fromm, love is an art. It is an answer to man's trouble, and love is an active process. So, makikita natin talaga na very deep din yung concept ni Fromm sa love. And somehow very applicable siya. Merong types of love according to Fromm. First is brotherly love. This is where love is equal in status, no? So yung pagmamahal mo sa isang kaibigan or sa isang kapatid, no? This is brotherly love. Motherly love naman is care for the helpless. So makita natin dito na may nurturance and affection na pinapakita yung isang person sa another person. So parang sa mother-child, no, na nurture ng ina yung anak. Erotic love naman is ito yung love for husband or wife, wherein meron na dito or naka-factor in na rin dito yung yung passion tsaka yung intimacy, no? So yeah, meron talagang eros. Also um act of or yung making love talaga, no, between husband and wife. Next is self-love. This is not selfish form of love, but it's more of a self-care type of love, respecting and acknowledging the identity or the person, no, himself or herself. Next is merong ding last, love of God. Ito yung para sa akin yung pinakamataas, no, love on that being, on that human, I mean love on that superior being or the cosmos. Okay? So, ito yung mga types of love according to Fromm. Okay, so may mga personality disorders that might develop pag hindi napunan or hindi nagampanan ng maayos yung mga needs, no? Or perhaps, hindi nakadevelop ng maayos na personality yung isang person. It may occur when one failed to establish union with others. Yeah, this is really true. First is necrophilia. Ito yung focus on the attention of death and entails hatred of humanity. So, pag meron tayong biophilia, love of death, meron din tayong necrophilia, or ito yung perhaps nakafocus siya on destroying humanity, no? Next is malignant narcissism. This is by the concept of everything one's owned is of great value. So, very narcissistic siya in a way na lahat ng meron ka ay mas mahalaga at mas importante compared sa ibang person. So, yung mga success mo, yung mga achievements mo, yung mga nakuha mo sa life or yung mga belongings mo, lahat mas importante yun compared sa iba. Another na naman is incestuous symbiosis. Ito naman is yung extreme dependent on one's mother or mother surrogate. This happens kapag overly dependent tayo sa another person, no? Hindi tayo makapag-establish ng sense of identity natin, no? Always yung tayo depend lang sa ibang person. So, hindi ito magandang personality. So, ang concept ng psychotherapy ni Fromm is for patients to come to know themselves, to go back home. No? Di ba yun yung concept din niya? It's seeking to satisfy human needs. No? So, kailangan yung human needs ay magampanan or makuha natin ng maayos itong relatedness, transcendence, rootedness, a sense of identity, and frame of orientation. So, going back, reunifying into the natural world that we have is important. So that will be all on my discussion. I hope you could read the book of Feist. Thank you so much for listening and God bless.